is on a roster, and he's making a difference on special teams. We need those types of guys, on the team. And, how much he gets to play at receiver, we'll see as his career goes on, but he's making a difference on special teams. That's a big deal. You think about where Xavier Johnson was in his career. He made a name for himself on special teams, then became a big player. Those guys, can make or break your team as the season goes on, and they're very critical. So, a lot of guys will talk about, the Jeremiah Smiths and the Carnell Tates, but it's these other guys that are also having a huge impact on these games.
And let's think, do you feel like you have, for want of another term, 3 primary receivers right now, like a lot of people thought you might have in this season, meaning Carnell, Jeremiah, and Emeka? And how does that, enhance your game planning, so to speak, that they've got to prepare for 3 guys? Because, you grew up, you had a primary receiver, I'm sure, New Hampshire.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying? But
yeah, we didn't have these 3, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
we didn't have these 3. Yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference when it's very difficult to just double or say we're going to take this guy away when you have other guys on the other side of the ball who can do what they can do. So and then again you have your tight ends, and I thought the throw and catch to G. Scott in the game, he was lined up on a Mike linebacker there, or I think it was the Will linebacker. They were doubling outside on Carnell. And so, you're one-on-one with the linebacker going down the middle of the field. And so the throw and catch there was excellent. But that's so we're talking about the matchup there. Or when you look at the Purdue game, they had a linebacker matched up on Travion because, the safety took away Emeka. So, all those things are important when you're trying to attack the defense. Yeah.
Coach, thank you very much. Right, folks, just an announcement. Men's soccer, our number 1 ranked Big Ten regular season champions, Big Ten tournament champions, men's soccer team will have a media availability Friday at 2:15 in the Shoemaker lobby. They play a second round NCAA. They're hosting games this week, Thursday and Sunday. They'll play Sunday against the winner of Thursday's game. So press conference Friday, 2:15 in Shoemaker. Thanks, Coach. Thanks.
Hey, Jim. It seems like Indiana is one of the better teams in the country, just executing back shoulder throws, aggressive, accurate quarterback guys making contested catches. What's the teaching point for your cornerbacks when they find themselves in those situations?
You have to be physical and violent with your hands through the route. I mean, they're very good at it. It's tough to defend, because of all the pushing and shoving that occurs and whether you're going to get a PI, but you really got to be physical back through the receiver and then violent, at the catch point. But I mean, it's, you don't want to tell your guys to, back off and worry about the PI. They got to be aggressive.
Steve, how are you?
Yeah, Coach, I asked Coach Day about this. Curtis Rourke was a big run pass guy at OU, 800 yards rushing in his career there, 17 so far this year at Indiana because they haven't needed him to run probably with the blowouts. Just some of the issues you guys have had with quarterbacks being able to get some yards. Are you guys preparing that might be part of their plan to attack you this week?
I think you always got to prepare for it, right? He hasn't shown it that much, but you always have to be sound against it. And, we know we've had some issues in the past, and not really in the quarterback run game, but more the improvised scramble or quarterback draw. So, we have to work on that.
What do you like about him the most, I guess, Rourke? I mean, or what do you see?
He's extremely efficient, calm in the pocket and very efficient. Makes all the throws, gets rid of the ball quickly. In that type of offense, he's very smart and figures out, where the holes of the defense are and takes advantage.
Jim, I know that you guys like Davison's physicality and what he brings on the outside, but with the penalties that they seem to happen just one a game, is that something that you guys have almost learned to accept with the notion that he's going to be physical and you're probably going to get one a game?
No, I mean, you don't ever accept it. You just keep coaching. And, you keep coaching him on technique and without limiting his aggressiveness. But you don't ever accept the penalties and just say, "Oh, we're going to get one." But keep coaching him and go through the clips and just tell him where he can get better.
CJ Hicks got in on a couple plays late in the game, rushing off the edge. You've said before that, you wanted to keep him at linebacker, but when you see him make plays like that, do you think at all about kind of changing his role, making him more of an edge rusher?
Always. I mean, CJ has that talent and that skill. So I think his future is going to involve a lot more of that.
Right here in the front row, Joey Coughlin.
Jim, with Davison, the way he plays, that physical style. I know there's times with the passer. Have you kind of coached a player like that, where you have a play like you have the pass interference call, but then you have the play like Penn State? I mean, just such a kind of a wide spectrum. What's like coaching that? Or have you had a player like that?
Yeah, he's different. And to me, it's fun to coach because he has that aggressiveness. He's going to throw punches, what I call, and it's a good thing. And you just have to keep working on his technique.
Right next door, Bill Billings.
You guys have not given up a touchdown in the third quarter this year. I know it's coming. How much of
Thanks,
that
Bill.
is?
Go ahead.
Would you like to be insulted? No, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I'm more used to that.
To what do you attribute that? I mean, some people see halftime adjustments. I mean, how do you explain it?
Yeah, I feel like we have veteran players who, you can make adjustments with, who, there's always a flow to every game. And, teams come at you early with different things, and that's just football. I mean, you can work all week on something and not get it at all. So I feel like our guys are veteran and they make those adjustments. They get into the flow of the game and they know more what to expect. And, they can meet the challenge.
The flip side of that is a little bit. I mean, Northwestern drove the ball on the first two possessions. A game like this, I'm sure you don't want to give Indiana oxygen. How important is it going to be to not have a repeat?
Yeah, we never want to give anybody anything. Yeah, so I mean, that's you want to start fast, finish first, and win every play in between. But that's I think the mentality of this game has got to be, like compete to win the game on every play because they're so efficient they're very efficient on offense. So I think you preach it all the time, but it's even more important in this game that you come out really fast.
Right behind Stephen Dees.
We haven't talked to you since the Purdue game, and the Jack made its debut after a couple of years being off with Mitchell out there, even though they gave up some yardage during that drive. But what did you like seeing Mitchell in that position? And you just mentioned CJ.
Yeah, I like what those two guys do. We didn't have much in at the time, so we were limited. Just wanted to, get them involved and always wanted to get Mitch involved and CJ involved. They're good players. So, I just always think there's a future there for that package for those two guys. I think they can be really good at it.
Tony Griffin.
When you're facing a team coming off of a bye week as a defensive coordinator, that you've got 10 games of film to look at this year, but you're going to see something that you haven't seen before. What's going through your mind during this weekend?
Everything. Yeah, I mean, there's, you just keep mulling it over mentally, and then, that's my process is you take all these things and exponentially all the things that can happen, and you just keep trying to weaning it down to something that's manageable for the players. Like I don't want the players in my head thinking what I'm thinking, so it's kind of like, okay, just keep thinking about all these different possibilities and looking at the video, and then, but when you present to the players, it's gotta be manageable. So.
Jim, I know it's like unbecoming to complain about officiating, but at some point do you guys get frustrated or ask an official what it takes to get a holding call against your defensive line?
No, I don't ask that. Yeah, it's not. I don't know that it's unbecoming. It's just, it's just pointless, It's just pointless. spend your time thinking about something else.
Jimmy, have you felt like Denzel has been frustrated at all over the last few weeks?
No, I don't think so. I think Denzel's level-headed. You know, he practices and plays like, goes through meetings like a professional, and you see very little change in his demeanor, no matter what happens, and that's the sign of a good player because he's just going to keep competing.
We'll wrap it up with tonight.
Yeah, Jim, I'm just wondering, do you feel like you're ringing out, so to speak, the depth chart right now with the guys you're playing? There seems to be a pretty good mix of guys going in, et cetera. And could you just name a couple of guys that have really stepped up? But mainly, do you feel really good pretty much with everybody you throw into a game when the game's basically in the crux?
Yeah, I do. I think guys who come in who do well, like Caden Curry, KJ. I mean, those guys, they do a lot. Coming in at end. I thought Arvell Reese had his best game of the year. Arvell had his best game of the year last game, which was exciting to see. So I saw a real leap forward with him last game. And we haven't been able to get them in much, but I like what Malik and Jalen McLean have been doing at safety. I really do. When they get their chance, they've been showing up. So I've been happy with those two.
And really quick, you didn't announce this, but has Jordan Hancock been activated? You understand what I'm saying? But he seems to be a lot of places, different times of the game and stuff. What do you like about just the way he's come on?
Yeah, he's got the abilities, to be he's become more of a run fitter, blitzer with the man coverage skills. So he has those skills of a corner and has been more actively involved in the front in different places. So I think he's got all the tools that you look for in a safety, in that he can cover a slot and do other things too.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Jim. They're going to need you in that defensive coaching room. That's a good point. You look at this. They haven't done it. You look at their rushing this year. It's like, oh, boy, it's working. They work the stat sheet. I don't know what. He's good. Now, Will stays tough. Yeah. Indiana does have pretty good receivers. They really do. But none of them are Jeremiah. What's that? For Rourke? Rourke and Jackson Dark's a little older. And then Rourke and Will Howard. And then after that, it's fourth. Allen is fifth, which is Gabriel's seventh. It just transfers. I didn't realize he was having Dave, he's not putting on that PC headset. I wonder how tempted. No, he probably wasn't tempted. All right, Will, thank you. We'll go over here on left field to Joe Newton. Go ahead.
Hey, last time we saw Indiana, their running defense was great against Michigan. What do you see out of their front seven?
I think they do a lot of really good things. Just preliminary, just watching them the last couple of days. I think they move around a lot. They show some different fronts. They got some good guys with some talent up there. A lot of guys kind of know the system, do it well. That Mike linebacker, you can tell he's in control of that system. And, I think they do some good things. So we're going to have to scheme them up. We're going to have to be ready for anything. and make sure that, any situation, whatever it is, whatever kind of movement they try to throw at us, we got to be able to weather the storm and work with that because, they like to move around and try and change things up for you, make things look a little cloudy. So, we just gotta be ready for whatever and go out there and rock them off the ball.
Well, you're third in the country in passing efficiency. I'm sure winning games is the most important thing, but as a quarterback, is passing efficiency kind of the number one stat you look at? If not, what is?
Yeah, the only stat I look at, so winning losses, man, I don't really care. But that means I'm playing good ball, and if that means I'm taking care of the football and distributing it well, and getting completions, then that's a good thing. And I think, stats like that, like I don't really focus on them. They kind of come, just kind of play my game, take it one play at a time. And, if I do my job and I do what I have to do, then, that number should look good. And, I obviously want to be better. But I think it's solid, but there's still stuff to improve on.
When you were in the spring going through stuff, going through the ones defense, is there a moment that stands out to you that you realize how good Caleb Downs was?
I don't know if there's one moment that stands out to me, but man, that dude's a hell of a football player, man. Just watching him every week, like the way that he comes downhill and hits dudes and fills holes is pretty different. Like I've never really seen a guy be able to do that, from a safety position. And he's just the way that I was talking to somebody, I don't think I've ever seen him miss like an open field tackle. I mean, obviously knock on wood, but the dude's pretty special. And, he's obviously really good in pass coverage too. And he's as smart as they come. He's one of those guys that just knows ball and just is a he just loves it and he's all about it, and he's one of those guys. I remember after he made that tackle, in the open field on Saturday, I was like, man, I'm glad he's on my team because he's a hell of a player.
As a quarterback, I know sometimes it can be a chess match between quarterbacks and safeties. From your perspective, how does a guy like that impact what a quarterback can and can't do on a football field?
Yeah, you play the game a little bit, and especially when you're going against somebody for every single day of fall camp and spring ball, then you kind of know how to play the game with each other a little bit, play that chess match. Obviously we didn't get a ton of it just because we only had 1 year together. But it's fun, man. I like doing that. I think it's, it makes the game more fun, the chess match of it, and just kind of seeing where he's going, me trying to mess with his eyes, him trying to mess with my eyes. Something I try to do in games, looking guys off, whatever it may be, kind of feeling their rotation before the snap. But I get to go against the best every single day. So, they get me ready for whatever I'm going to see week in and week out.
Well, when you decided to come here in January, you talked about wanting to go somewhere where you feel like you would develop into a top round draft pick. When you arrived in Columbus, where did you think that you most needed to get better at, and how do you feel like you've gotten a lot better now today compared to where you were at in January with regards to your draft?
For me, I feel like a lot of it just had to deal with consistency. And I feel like everything that I had been told was that I'd shown flashes of everything. I'd shown flashes of throwing the deep ball well, but hadn't been really consistent. I'd shown flashes of throwing on the run well and making good decisions on third down and in pressure situations, but it wasn't all the time, and I feel like coming here, it was like, how can I just be as consistent and as, mature as I can possibly be? And I think that's really where my game has evolved is just, the consistency part and just trying to be, take things one play at a time and not trying to be, not trying to make things happen, just letting it happen. I think a lot of it's been the coaching that I've gotten here and just the different things that they emphasize and the things that, Coach Kelly and Coach Day are hard on me for are a little different than what I've been coached on before in the past. Like, just my footwork and making sure that everything's, timed up the right way and that I know everything that's going on, on every pass play, and I have a plan and I have guys I'm looking at. And I think just in every way, my game has gotten better, and I attribute that to, the coaching that I've gotten and just the competition I've gotten to go against every single day.
How much does footwork factor into that consistency and being able to be a more consistent quarterback? Does it all boil down?
A ton. Yeah, it's a lot of it. I mean, obviously it's not all of it. You know, there's a lot that goes into it, but you know, I think that it's a big part of it. And, you know, I think that as consistent as your feet can be, and, you know, it gives you a firm base. And as long as you have those feet underneath you and you're able to time things up well, you're able to be on balance at all times, like things like that, little things that, you know, you don't even really think about when you're watching tape or you're just a normal fan watching. You know, things like that are super important.
We'll go fourth row, Noah.
This is your first home ranked game as a Buckeye. What are you expecting the atmosphere to be like this weekend?
I'm excited, man. I hope that, you know, and I'm confident that Buckeye Nation's going to show up. But, you know, if this, you know, if I can say anything, man, we need y'all. We need Buckeye Nation to be loud. I know it's a noon game, you know, obviously, you know, everyone has their thoughts on that, but man, look, it's when we're going to play. So show up, be loud. Because, you know, we played 2 of these games in, you know, opposing, you know, road games. And, you know, this is the first time that we're able to host a game and have that advantage of the, you know, the crowd noise and the environment be on our side. So I'm excited to use that advantage. I really haven't felt like we've needed it yet at home. But, you know, this Saturday, we're definitely going to need it. Top 5 matchup. You know, we want to overwhelm them with noise and be the loudest, hardest place to play in the country. And, you know, we say that we want the shoe to be that place, but, you know, we need to come through and be loud. And, you know, I just encourage all of Buckeye Nation to show up, be loud, be early, and because we're going to need you guys, and, you know, you guys are the best fans in the country. So, you know, let's do it.
How do you think having those experiences in the 2 top 5 games will help you and the rest of the team this weekend specifically?
I think it'll help a ton. You know, I think we've seen it from both sides, you know, from how to, you know, what not to do and what to do. I think we learned from that Oregon game going into the Penn State game and how to finish a game. You know, but I feel confident that, you know, we've seen it, we've done it. You know, we've been in these big games. I've played in a lot of them myself. You know, and this year, this team is seasoned. You know, I think we played in 2 of these games now, and this is, you know, another big matchup game. But, you know, what we say is, you know, it all boils down. It can come down to one play, and we gotta be ready for whatever. You know, gotta have a great week of preparation and just, you know, let everything take care of itself.
When you look at this offensive line, they've had a few games now to play where they are. How do you think they're meshing in your eyes? How are you connecting with it now and moving forward? How ready is that unit for this match?
I think they're doing a hell of a job, man. I couldn't say enough good things about them. You know, I really don't think they've skipped a beat. You know, everyone's talking about how different it is and how, you know, we're shuffling guys around, but to me, it's the same group, man. It's the same group of O linemen. You know, maybe it's a new face here and there. Carson's playing guard now. Donnie's playing tackle, you know, but Carson's played a ton of football. Donnie's played a ton of football. You know, yeah, they've had to adapt to their new roles. But, you know, I never skipped a beat with those guys, man. I'm so proud of them and how they're kind of meshing into their new roles and taking over, you know, kind of the confidence of it. And I think they really started, you know, when we started running the ball in that game on Saturday, you know, it was really that O-line just kind of started taking over. And, you know, when those guys are able to take over a game, like, we're going to be hard to beat, you know, and, you know, I'm proud of those guys, man. I just need them to continue to, you know, maul guys up front and play the brand of football that we want to play. And, you know, I think they're doing a heck of a job, and I'm excited to see what they do in this big matchup because they know they got a challenge, but, you know, I'm excited for them.
Cameron T. Robinson.
Well, kind of going back to the consistency you were talking about, from whether it's the work you did in the offseason with Jeff Christensen or the time you put in with Coach Day and Coach Kelly, how much more confident of a passer from all 3 levels do you feel like you are from maybe where you were when you came here or before you started working with Jeff?
Yeah, I feel a ton more confident, man, just overall. You know, I feel like I've really settled into this offense, and, you know, I got guys around me that make plays and make my job easy. You know, there are a couple times I took check downs that went for 8 to 20 yards on Saturday. And when you're able to do that, it's just keeps us on track. And I think that's been one of my biggest things is that I've gotten better at taking checkdowns and handing the ball on RPOs and not trying to force things and just kind of, saying, all right, it wasn't there then, next play, and we'll come back and run it again if we want to hit the deep shot, but just kind of being, caught, I want to say picking and choosing when to take those shots and when to, when to kind of hold it back. But I think at the same time, just with the work I put in terms of my mechanics and in terms of my footwork, I just feel like, I don't really think about making those throws anymore. I just kind of make them, and it just kind of happens,
How much did working with Jeff help even just tweak some of the small things that maybe you were doing at Kansas State that you maybe aren't doing here?
Yeah, it helped a bunch, and he's my mechanics guy. He helps me, with any little tweak I need. Different things I need during the week. I'll call him if I need anything. But he's been great. He's given me little tidbits here and there, and he's gotten me to a point where I just feel really confident ripping the ball and throwing it, and I don't feel like I have to do anything special. I can just kind of let it happen and trust my mechanics and my training, and a lot of credit to those people that have helped me get there.
Well, I know you're not scouting Indiana's offense all that much, but just curious what your thoughts are on Curtis Rourke, their quarterback. He's just a really efficient guy as well. Like, you guys are like basically at the top of the charts in terms of efficiency. Just curious as like a fellow passer, if you've seen highlights of him or watched him, just what do you think of this season?
Yeah, I haven't watched him a ton. I knew he was a great player coming out of Ohio. I know Will Kazmarek played with him there, and has nothing but good things to say about him. I haven't got to watch him all that much, but just looking at his stats, it seems like he's been really efficient, really smart with the football. Does some good things. So I know our defense is ready for the challenge, and they know they're going to have to be disciplined. And I know Curtis, he's good at taking the checkdowns too, and he's a smart player, and he does what he has to do to keep the chains moving. So as much as we can on defense, we're going to have to stop them on third downs and keep the ball in our hands and not let them, control the possession, too much, because I think that's something they'd want to do. But I haven't watched him a ton, but got a lot of respect for him and what he does.
What did you think your best throw on Saturday was?
I got to say that one down the middle of the G. I just think I just kind of let that thing rip, and that's a throw we practice all the time. And, I felt like that one, I was kind of ready for that. I'd actually thrown it during the week and was a little late on it. It was BI down the middle of the field, but I was in 7-on-7, I think, on Wednesday, and I was just a little late on that throw. And, on that one, I just got my eyes backside a little quicker. The safety got over top of Carnell, so I knew I was working G, and, a guy with his, we always talk about, a defender running with his back turned means he's open. So just gave him a chance, and I like that one. I like the one to Carnell in the corner of the end zone. I don't know. I mean, as much as, anything that's a first down, touchdown, I'm not really picky, but I did like that one.
You and Indiana transfers have been instrumental for both of you guys' success. For you guys, you and Caleb and Quinshawn and Seth, how important has it been to be able to fit into the culture? I mean, that culture fit has got to be so important. What do you think has been the key for you guys to be able to do that?
It is, and I think it talks a lot to the guys that were here and also the guys that came in, and how we kind of, tried to adapt to the culture. And we didn't try to bring in our own, individuality or, anything. I think a lot of us kind of dropped our feelings at the door and said, all right, we want to be a part of this, let's do it. And, none of us came in with any, real egos or anything like that. I think it was just, you kind of drop your ego at the door and you say, hey, I want to be a part of this, and I want to do this the way that we're doing it. And, I think Coach Mick has a lot to do with that and shaping the culture of this team. And I think the work that we put in the off season, the winter, the summer, all this stuff that we did, the mat drills and all that stuff. Like that just shaped us and kind of brought us closer together and made me feel closer to my teammates here. And, when you go through stuff like that, I think we had one of the hardest, off seasons that we've had here, and probably in my career, probably one of my hardest off seasons. When you come in and you got a culture that's so defined already, and you got guys that are, so invested in it, like Jack Sawyer and guys like JT that have been here for years, and G Scott and Trey and Mech and all these guys, I could go on. And, they've cemented this culture, and we came in and we said, we want to be a part of this. However it is, and we respect the way that we do things around here. And I think it speaks a lot to the character of the guys that came in, and also to the guys that, were here and established this culture.
You're playing another team, another week that's coming off an off week, another extra week of preparation. How different is it facing a defense that has had that week to add new things? Have you noticed a significant difference?
Not really. No, I mean, yeah, they have an extra week, but that's not something we can control. So, if they want to show something new, they can. And, we've, as the Buckeyes, have kind of gotten used to that. I feel like, we kind of see something new every week from guys. They don't want to play us straight up. They don't like to, just show us the same stuff that they've been showing every year. We understand we're the Buckeyes. We may get some different looks, and that's just the part of, being here and playing and being a part of this. So, I think we're just going to have to go out there and see how they're going to play us. And really those first couple drives are big, and seeing, how they kind of want to go about this game and whatnot, and what pressures they're going to bring, how they want to play us, and go from there.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you guys. Go Bucks.